Hello my lovelies, and welcome back to part 3 of my deck Strength versus Weakness series. The deck of the month, of course, for September is the Soul Cats Tarot. This is a perfect pairing video, and so we're going to cover Oracle decks that pair with the Soul Cats Tarot. Now, I confess I don't have a lot of indie Oracle decks that pair with the Soul Cats, so we're going to go ahead and start with those because I have a fewer amount of those. And the first one we're going to discuss is the Fairytale Oracle by Umbrella Tree Press. I love this particular deck. Here, maybe I can zoom in a little bit further. I know the cards are bigger. I do love this particular oracle. It's fairy tales from around the world. So you get the story it's from, but you get a keyword. And I mean, who doesn't like fairy tales? Oh, look at that, Puss in Boots. Believe it or not, one of the reasons why these two pair so well is actually because of the keyword selection on the Oracle deck. It is something I've discovered with the Soul Cats Tarot. Keywords are important when it comes to Oracle decks. They either are really great for the reader or they're not. Well, the Soul Cats Tarot is the same way. Either it is okay with the keywords and understands them, or it doesn't. And you'll see that in my anti-pair oracle video, because I do have oracles that have keywords on them that the Soul Cats Tarot does not like. But for this particular deck, yes, the Soul Cats Tarot highly approves of the keywords that are used. And I know I'm not going too super in depth, but we have 9-10 decks or so to get through, and I'm trying to get through them as much and quickly as possible. I don't want to keep you here all day. The next deck we're going to discuss is the Elemental Empath Oracle. This is by Mayuki Rose. This is one of those that was geared towards female empaths. Granted, divine feminine energy, empathic energy is all encompassed in the deck, and as a female reader, I've used this deck even for male clients. It doesn't matter. It's a fantastic deck. But there's so much emotional energy in this deck because it is focused on empaths. And even though there are all the elements represented, it's through a lot of an emotional scope. And believe it or not, the Soul Cats likes that because it's utilizing and tapping into that emotional energy. Remember, our strength for the Soul Cats Tarot is manifestation and energy. So it's actually tuning into a specific type of energy, and that is the emotional energy, the emotional body that you have. And it's fantastic that these two pair. I do love both of these decks. So being able to get these two to talk to each other was something that I was happy to discover. I probably would have been upset if I couldn't use these two together, just because I like both of them as individuals, let alone together. Okay, we're going to move right along. And this is another indie deck, Kickstarter. This is the Heart Align Affirmation Oracle. And some of you might recognize the backings. This is by Kimberly T. Sand. It's a little small deck. It does have a saying, an affirmation on it, and then it has a holographic heart to activate it. This deck also has emotional energy into it. It does have some movement prompts in it as well, because Kimberly broke it down into love and self-care and movement and a couple different categories, hence the symbols that you see are different on each card, and it's because she has a little bit of a system built into it. But because this is supposed to tap you into the emotions or get you out of the emotions, there's emotional energy in this, even though it's an affirmation deck. And spoiler alert, when it comes to affirmation decks, Soul Cats is not really keen on affirmation decks, but because this one handles emotional energy, just like with the Elemental Empath Oracle that we just discussed, it will actually pair with the Heart Align Affirmation Oracle due to that influx of emotional energy, which is kind of nice. Gives me another excuse to play with this deck, and I still love the holographic sides. Every time I get it out, I'm like, ooh, shiny. Alright. Another less known indie deck. This is the Soul Care Oracle by Sarah McCormick. This is a deck that does have seasons and elements and, as you can see, zodiac in it, but it also has astrology in it. There you go, there's one, Pisces. I'm guided by my intuition. One thing I have discovered is that the Soul Cats Tarot actually likes astrology decks, which is really a shame because in my collection I don't have a lot of astrology decks per se. It's one of those I've slowly dipped my toe in, and I've only got, you know, like 2 decks. But having a deck that has the planets and the seasons and the elements and the zodiac in it, like this one, it covers a lot of ground, and it does have what it is, and then a affirmation or a key sentence. I am boldly sharing my message. Mercury, the planet of communication. So I mean, there's enough to go off of to utilize the deck, but also to add value to what you're trying to do with the Soul Cats Tarot. So I wanted to definitely show you this one because I am low on astrology decks, and the Soul Cats Tarot does like astrology decks. Next, big cards. It's always the issue with oracles, big cards, trying to get them in frame. Next we're going to discuss the Sacred Earth Oracle. And this is one of those you're going to look at the artwork and go, wow, that's completely different. And it is. There is a certain style with the Sacred Earth Oracle. But as you can see, each one has a keyword or phrase: clarity, disconcernment, dependability. Believe it or not, the reason why this one goes so well with the Soul Cats is because of those keywords. They're precise but broad, if that makes sense. It's kind of like the happy medium. It gets the point across, but it leaves enough open to interpretation while not being so vague that the Soul Cats can't make sense of it. And they are some nice keywords. Stretch, perception, rediscovery, influence, patterns, expectation, moderation, potential, connection, alliance, fortitude. As you can see, the keywords are definitely what makes these two okay with each other. The Soul Cats likes to explore those keywords and utilize them to convey messages when it comes to the strengths of this deck, the manifestation, and where the energy is or it isn't. And it's quite lovely to see. And of course, that was a mass market deck. We're into mass markets now. And speaking of which, we're going to keep on going. And here's one that you may not have seen, even though it is a mass market. This is Wake Up, Kick-Ass, Repeat. It is a Peter Popper press deck. You can write sayings on the back. Some of their decks are two-sided. This one is not. And because this is an empowering, a motivational deck, this is awesome to use with the Soul Cats Tarot. So if you need a quick pick-me-up, if you need a boost in energy, you know, if you need a little push If you need encouragement of any sort, like if you're about ready to give up or if you're just uncertain, putting these two together can actually have a surprising benefit. So consider this like a pep talk pair, if that makes any sense. Okay, we're gonna keep moving right along. I'm going to show you some of my newer decks that I haven't actually got a chance to play with. This is part of the Season of the Witch Oracle deck set. And not all of these are out for all the Sabbaths, but this is the Mabon Oracle. Oh, and it helps if I don't put it upside down. I have yet to play too much with this deck, but that's okay. As I mentioned before, the Soul Cats Tarot is a summer, almost early fall type kind of deck. And of course, Mabon being the fall solstice for Sabbath. These two get along simply due to its season. So to read more into the energy and what's happening, some of the last harvest stuff, I'm excited to use this because I'm going to start using this deck. It's one of my new acquirements. So we'll see how well this goes because I know these two go together. I know they will play with each other quite nicely. Even my ancestors agree. So that'll be quite interesting for me. I know everyone's got feelings about the Seasons of the Witch series, and I was nudged to get these to explore more of the Sabbaths. And speaking of which, we now have the Samhain or the Samhain deck, depending on which pronunciation you would like for that particular Sabbath. So, All Hallows Eve, yes. Same thing with the Mabon. This is a fall deck. So of course, because these seasons are right next to each other, this particular Sabbath is something that's going to go well with the Soul Cats Tarot. And I know these are some really popular mass market oracles right now that everyone's still talking about as they release more of the Sabbaths. So I wanted to definitely include this. And because this particular Sabbath, the Samhain, is when the veil is the thinnest, of course, trying to utilize any energy and see what you can manifest, seeing what you can do with it. I'm curious as to what else will come out from this particular pairing. And I guess it is September already, so we'll find out. We'll find out pretty soon, actually. And moving right along, the Whispers of the Ocean Oracle. I love this oracle. Now, I've already mentioned that sometimes the Soul Cats Tarot has issues with animal energy. Of course, this is an ocean deck, so there's a lot of fish. And since cats like fish, there's really not too much of an animal energy issue. Plus, one of the reasons why the Soul Cats likes this deck is because of the creation, manifestation energy that is empowered in this deck. So even animal energy aside, the strength that helps play into this deck, of course, will help put them together. But I do adore this deck. It's pretty. To quote Lisa, it's pretty. And of course, this one is very broad with information. So this is a good one that I really like to utilize. I love when it's called for, when I have to use the Soul Cats Tarot. That simply because this pairing will take you places. And like I said, to quote Lisa, it's pretty. I like looking at it. I just do. Alright, and I have a one last deck for you. That's mass market. This is the Moonology Manifestation Oracle by Yasmin Boland. A lot of you probably recognize this. And of course, this is one of my other astrology decks that I have. As I said, the Soul Cats actually enjoys astrology decks. It really does. I am so sorry that I only have like 2 decks in my collection. I would like to have had more, knowing that they pair very well to show you. However, I will have to leave that up with somebody that does have the Soul Cats Oracle and more astrology decks to see what else besides these 2 decks that I have in my collection pairs. And of course, with this particular deck, you get the phase and zodiac sign of the astrology placement, and then a keyword or phrase: leave the past behind, practice gratitude, reveal what needs to be seen, make time for self-love, attend to the details, lighten up, take a breather. So this is a case of where the keywords and key phrases, especially with the astrology, the Soul Cats Tarot likes it. Keywords, both good and bad, have a strong influence when it comes to the Soul Cats Tarot. So I've had a couple examples for you now of keywords that are good. But if you stay tuned, in about 2 days, you'll see the Anti-Pairs Oracle, and I will give you some examples of bad keywords and why the Soul Cats Tarot gets a little confused, as well as a couple other interesting things. So what do you think for some of the decks that pair, now that we've covered Tarot and Oracle? Is it a little bit more of an interesting deck that you might want to utilize or keep in your collection? Is there any other deck that I mentioned, that I showed you, that maybe you're now interested in purchasing because it pairs and it piques your interest? By the way, I also have more Oracle decks that do pair listed in the description box down below. Feel free to expand that in case you need it, because I will list every single one that I have discovered down there. And if you've missed the Perfect Pairs Tarot edition, or the very first day, the very first day where I started this series for this month, where I introduced the Soul Cats Tarot with its strengths and weaknesses and broke things down, please expand the description box. It is down there. I do link the previous videos into the description box. Also, if you are looking for the previous month's deck strength versus weakness, I do have a deck strength versus weakness, a perfect pair, and an anti-pair playlist. Please go to my YouTube channel, click on the playlist tab, and go to whatever playlist suits your fancy and play catch up. I have a couple months worth of this series out already. You can go ahead and watch the previous ones if you have just discovered this series. And for those of you that are interested in what's going to happen next month, I have next month's poll for October up. Please go to my community tab and vote. You guys voted for the Soul Cats Tarot for this month, and it was a staggering 50% that this was the deck you wanted. So I am delivering. And so if you've got an interest in any of the decks listed in that poll, go ahead and vote for the one that you want to see most. I will change the decks month to month until I go through my entire collection. And considering I'm sitting at probably 80 decks and counting, oh god, 80 decks and counting, this series will still continue for quite a while. So there's no chance of it going away anytime soon. There is plenty of content to come. And once again, thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it, and I will see you guys later. Bye.